Wives of Reddit, what is a sexual fantasy you could never tell to your husband? Definitely not married and neither have a boyfriend, but I would really want this. A lot of eye contact. I want to push him on the bed, hold his wrists and kiss him everywhere until his heart beats faster than Usain Bolt's running speed. Give him feather kisses on forehead, then his nose, his jawline, his neck, his chest, his nipples and down his abdomen, and going further. And at that moment I'd love if he could suddenly show his dominance, flip me over, take charge, kiss me, cuddle me, fuck me, whatever he wants. Guess that ain't happening cause I ain't getting a boyfriend in near future. Crying face, crying face. I came into this thread not quite knowing what to expect, but worrying that it was the sort of thing that was going to make men in general feel insecure. Almost every answer I've read is about wives just wanting their husbands, maybe wanting them more intimately or more vulnerably, maybe engaging in some kind of darker role play with them, but almost all about just wanting their husbands. It's honestly really sweet. It's reassuring actually. I have no sexual fantasies. So my fantasy would be to have a fantasy. To have that need to feel that sexual frustration. Sounds very, alive, human, normal, etc. To be fair though, I also don't have a husband, well anymore, RIP. Edit y'all, I'm just a junkie on Suboxone with a fried brain. Also PIV has always been painful, so before sex was kinda like this thing I did with the man I loved to be close with him. I have a pregnancy fetish. I don't want kids, or the process of actual pregnancy, I just want to be put on pills to fill my breasts with milk and induce lactation and have them drink from him like they need it, and I want them to raw dog me like they believe I'm actually going to get pregnant. Just mindless, raw, instinctual fucking, then tit-sucking neediness that actually produces breast milk. My husband has always been pretty physically fit, and overall I like that. But sometimes I wished he was chubby. Not obese, but something similar to Tony Soprano in season 1. There is just something kind of sexually appealing about a guy with a bit of chubbiness rather than barely any body fat and hard muscle. Sometimes it feels like I'm cuddling with a statue. I told my husband all of my fantasies and playing it out was never as good as I thought in my head. So now all I enjoy is gentle stuff, I just want to be coddled and loved on. Pain is no longer my kink. But I needed to work out my physical trauma as a child, so in the end it's a good thing that my sexual fantasies have changed. That I miss it in general. He's got a very bad spinal issue and is in pain management. It's been almost 5 years. I desperately want it, but only with him. We've been married for 18 years and had plenty of fun in the early years. I can't really tell him because it just makes him feel inadequate, and that's not what I want at all. I want to be degraded, maybe talked down to. Maybe even kidnapped and hooded for a little extra spice. Very spontaneous, very realistic, thrown into a room or basement, chained up and left there naked and gagged. To be used whenever by him. However he pleased, but also by whoever he pleased, as frequently as he pleased. Free use, CNC, waking up with him already inside helping himself, romantic face, like the need I have to just be needlessly used, lol, but not in a super rough way. On the other side, I would like to be spit on and verbally degraded and fucked until I'm screaming, but realistically I don't think I could handle the super hard fuck part. I'd really like to peg him while I stroke him off and make him come on his abs and lick it off of him while holding eye contact. I'm bi and still have my strap-on harness in a box buried in my closet, so honestly probably will ask like we usually do with our kinks after a couple bottles and some fucking around. Not married, but been with mine for 5 years. I have this fantasy of wanting to be on display. Like almost as if my pussy was being used to educate, spread apart, show everyone, have them touch it. I love the idea of feeling exposed and vulnerable. Also to sleep with a woman, I've always wanted to eat pussy. My husband told me some stories about when he was doing one night stands. I want role play, like we met in some party and we have sex like one night stands. Our relation had turned so neutral and him so uptight that I want him to show me how he was before. Only show me, though. I have a daddy-daughter kink where I want to pretend to be a little girl with her daddy dom. But, since my husband and I have a daughter, playing out this fantasy would absolutely fuck with my head too much. I don't want to see him like that, but it is a fantasy of mine. I'd like for my husband to initiate in a public place, a bit of under-the-table action before leading me to a bathroom or secluded place, and he takes me from behind without a word exchanged and then we carry on as if nothing happened. The less control I have the better. My husband rarely touches me or initiates anything. If it weren't for me, we'd go for 6 months without anything. My fantasy would be someone who truly wants me and can't go an entire week without me. I feel so unloved and not wanted. I keep my appearances up for nothing. Honestly, I want a maid so everything is always clean and stress-free, so I don't have to pretend that our room isn't a disaster and hey, you wiped me up with the good towels. I want someone else to take care of the housewife shit so I can enjoy my sex life. To everyone wanting to try something with their partner, but not willing to face rejection, you might consider trying something like the carnal calibration quiz with them. It lets you fill it out separately, and then only gives results for where you overlap. There's a specific type of British tailored three-piece suit that gets me going, and he would look so handsome in it. I'd never mention it because the person he hates the most wears those suits. Then he'd be worried I was thinking about that person. I want him to worship my body with just his hands and mouth. I also want him to just take control and not ask permission. Just throw me down or up against a wall and have your way with me. I make the decisions all day long, take charge in bed. Is it weird that I have an open conversation with him about my fantasies? We don't do all of them, some of them I say just because they sound kinky to me. I really believe that it's important to be honest with the person you're in love with. I want to sit on his face, ride him hard, drown him when I come and asphyxiate him with my pussy. But not really because I don't want to actually kill him, lol. I will never, ever tell him, but I do be thinking about it during my alone time. I'm married to a woman, but I'm pretty sure it's still okay for me to comment. I have a lactation kink. I'd love to suck on some titties or induce myself. It'll never happen, I think it's too out there for me to even broach with her. Stalking, kidnapping. Like I run away, he finds stalks my every move, letting me know I'm not as smart as I think I am because where I go to is so predictable, then takes me against my will and punished for running away. CNC. Side note for those giving advice. You ever think that a relative might be posting here and you're helping them have better sex? Like I could have just helped my uptight aunt fuck my uncle or something. Just a thought. Go in the woods at night. Put on a mask and tell me to run. Then he'd hunt me down and fuck me against a tree or something. He's too sweet, he could never even pretend to do something like that. I love him so much, I want to be tied up and fucked till I'm crying begging for him to stop. I never told him, and if I don't think I ever could cause it. Sadist, and I don't know how he would look at me after golden showers, but like on a pool deck with an outdoor shower for easy cleanup, while he calls me a crazy little slut and shames me with crazy slurs, restrains me, talk to me so dirty, spit in my mouth. Another woman I want to go down on her while he fucks me, kinda bummed I never gave myself the chance to taste another woman's pussy. Also rape fantasy, but my body doesn't like it rough. We are pretty open. As soon as I have new fantasies, my boyfriend is the first to know. 3 years ago we built a BDSM dungeon in our basement. It's our favorite room of the house now. Rape fantasy. He's too kind and gentle. I mean, I could definitely tell him about it, but any attempt to fulfill it would be uncomfortable and unconvincing for everyone involved. My fantasy is as a man that can totally sexually dominate me, just take it, but also make love. But here's the most fantastical part. The discernment to know when to do which. The amount of wives that gave up on fantasies because their partner is not fun is kinda sad. Ladies, first rule of getting what you want, you have to ask for it. CNC. Slap my face and forcefully face fuck me, crying face, rough me up before penetration. It turns me on. The more I resist, the more I get turned on and will yield when I'm ready. I played a game of poker with my girlfriend for this. The winner got their sex wish. I lost. My girlfriend first had me dance naked and then tied me down and did stuff. Actually, I'd love it if my partner would go down on me more often. Be more rough. Slap my ass. Talk dirty to me. Face fuck me. Etc. Just being more kinky, lol. I kinda want him to praise me like a puppy, chin cheek scratches and saying I'm a good girl and I wanna wear collars, but he don't like that puppy shit at all. Skull. Clicked on thread. Interested, 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 very interested, very interested, extremely interested at all. Make me feel vulnerable. Spit on me, spank me, finger blast me till I start crying and threat to go faster if I make a sound. Romantic shit, you know? I want to watch him with another woman. I've had that fantasy with every man I've loved. I keep it a fantasy because I know how jealous I get. The list is long, and it could be so much freaking fun. But will sadly never happen. He's not into anything adventurous or exciting. I want us to try some swinger type stuff. He's the only guy I've ever been with, so that thought comes to mind very often, lol. I'm amazed with how many women would like their husbands to be rough with them. Never realized everyone was so vanilla, getting FKD while also giving him head now but duplicate himself. I don't want a threesome with someone else, smiley face, Weary face. Sorely disappointed about the lack of wives that want their man to act like Jim Varney from Ernest Goes to Camp. Oh dear God! A threesome with another woman. Exhibitionist sex. Subdom dynamic. Sex with big reptilian men. I just wanna watch him masturbate. Or even hear about it later. I think he feels embarrassed about it though. I just want it doggy style. Or hell, even something other than missionary. Just once. And yes, I've told him. Every married man is now doing deep analysis on this thread, trying to figure out which post is his wife's. Having him on top of me and stare at my face until he comes, squeezing my wrist and hearing him scream, smiley face. Some guys are about to find out the truth in this thread. Women are perverts. Like perverts. After over a decade, I think my wife's biggest unspoken fantasy is for me to shut up forever about mine. Mine aren't very sexual. I want a really nice massage and to be held like a baby until I fall asleep. I want him to sneak up behind me, restrain me, and then make my cum repeatedly for an hour straight. There's over 5,500 people here. Imagine being in a room with over 5,000 people discussing this topic out of embarrassment, but being tied up, the whole subdom thing, forced orgasms, CNC to name a few. Double penetration. It's hard to find a man that's into it. One day I hope I get to live my fantasy. I want to hear him moaning and saying stuff while he's fucking me, and I want him to be spontaneous. Not a wife here, but I have the fantasy of a threesome with double penetration by two guys. I know that my wife would like me to sexually make the bed or sexually mop the floors.